Okay, guys, welcome back to your Grimerica Outlawed Weekly Roundup. Coming at you this week. Well, I mean, it's the plus, but I guess it's not really just a plus anymore, right? Because we usually do at least a little bit of free stuff. It might not always be half, but we'll always throw you guys, at least 20 or minutes or half an hour of free stuff. Honestly, it's fun, and from our perspective, we're hoping it's going to sucker some of you guys into signing up for the full shows. I mean, that's really the meat and potatoes of the roundup is in the extensions. It was a plus only show for a while, and we decided that you get that a lot of the free members, which is about 10 to 1, 10 or 15 to 1 free to sign up, would decide it was worth the $6 a month. So maybe do. On that note, it is October 27th, already 4 days before Halloween, 6 days before the Azores trip.
Well, you got to admit, too, that it's because we got our YouTube channel back. One of the reasons why, is because we are able to stream the first half now. So,
oh, yeah, which is still ultimately to try and get people to sign up for a lot. We're just trying to get you some members. This is like our direct-to-consumer method, because even if we are on YouTube, we don't make fuck all from,
No, we don't make, no, I mean, we only make money from your donations. That's it.
That's it. If you
barely enough to cover the cost. So it's like we don't do ads. You
could add up to 2 YouTube channels and it's still like, even with all the audiobook views, 15,000 subs on that channel and all these views here, 15,000 subs, I want to say we're probably between the two shows at least 15,000 hours consumed per month. And
nothing.
I'll give you a minute. I'll give the audience a minute to take a guess on what you think that pays us. Drum roll, please. It's about after YouTube takes their cut, it's about $220, which barely covers the stream.
Canadian.
Yeah, Canadian.
That's converted.
And StreamYard's $129.
Yeah. StreamYard doubled their price, and yeah.
So the cost of streaming is barely covered by the show.
Thanks, Bang Chiefs Halls one.
This is exactly what we're getting at. Anyway,
I like it.
That is just to say that there's a whole hour or 45-minute extension of these plus shows, if these roundups, if you do want to head over to GrandMericaOutlawed.ca and sign up today. It's only $6 a month. I mean, all these other guys raise their prices. We never raise our price. What's MU at now? Like $14 a month. THC's 8 or 9. We're still right where we started. We're not raising prices. We're not interested in raising prices. We just want to raise conversion. Anyway, what do you got? What's new?
Well, I'm exhausted.
What do you want to get into?
I'm exhausted because I played hockey last night for the first time in 12.
Oh yeah, save that for the other show.
Save that for the show. Yeah, I'm mentally really tired because I didn't sleep well last night. But so hopefully it'll be okay tonight. But it's going good. I mean, you were going to mention something, and I kind of interrupted you about the Azores, so I just wanted you to finish that train of thought. If you were,
I'm going to the Azores in a couple of days, 6 days, I think. Going on the trip with Randall Carlson, going to be pretty awesome. Searching for Atlantis. There is still some availability for that, pretty last minute. But if you can get in, I think there's a coupon code going around for $1,000 off. That's it. Something you're interested in, let us know. That's only applicable to the entire trip, but the other thing is some people can do 2 weeks, so we added a Tercera only option, which is 6 nights on Tercera Island that people can jump in for that for less than half the price, because it takes a bunch of the flights out of it.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Stuff on our side, so people can check that out if they want to come just to Tercera for 6 days. You could probably, I want to say your flights there are probably going to cost you like $1,000 US, and then it's just a few grand, and you're there for a week in the Azores. You don't get to come to all 3 islands. We probably still get the gist of it. You're there for half of it, basically, and you'll get the bonus. You'll get is a little synopsis from the people that were there for the first 3 days. So it's like you'll miss those first 3 days, but then you'll also get filled in from the people of what they saw and see some pictures probably. So anyway, something to check that out.
There's a note in the chat there. Randall is like an AI mashup of Santa Claus and Indiana Jones. Yeah, and maybe like Socrates or maybe throw them in there.
I mean, he does kind of look like the Socrates statue. Right? He really kind of looks like the bust. The simulation is uncanny. So, where do you want to start? I'm gonna save my Dave's not here, man. Is all second half of show stuff.
Okay.
Mainly
let's start with mine then.
A lot of the clips, if I stream them, we're gonna get into trouble here, probably on YouTube and stuff. But I do have some other stuff here. I have this one clip that I can't remember if I played last week or not. So we'll see. You can tell me. But yeah, you start us off.
Okay, because I got it's turned into a bit of a segment. So let's just get, because I don't know how long it's going to be. So just interrupt me along the way, and
You must have seen that Trump stopped talking to us, right?
I have some Canadian stuff too. I mean,
it's stupid ad. I mean, everyone's freaking out about the ad. We're not going to stop the ad. I'm like, why are my tax dollars paid for this? I mean, I'm not in Ontario, so I guess it's not that bad. But to the Ontario people, like, can you guys afford $75 million for a fucking advertisement? That's fucking bonkers. I mean, how much is that per Ontario taxpayer? That's a few bucks. That's a few bucks that could be going to, I don't know, maybe some like drinking water on a res, or
like somebody else
fill in the blank. I mean, all of the public services in Ontario are going to fucking shit. Hire some doctors with that $75 million. Train some doctors. Do whatever you got to do. But I don't think that the $75 million is best spent interfering in elections in other countries.
How do you think that would be if somebody did that to us?
Oh, shit would hit. I mean, you could argue it already happened. You could argue Trump got Carney elected with his shenanigans.
Yep, definitely.
So you'd think
something's afoot. Something's afoot. I got some Canadian. I mean, do you want to just do? No, let's not. Let's save that. But I do have some Canadian stuff because it is getting a little crazy here, and it's hard to pay attention to it because it makes me want to puke. It really does.
Oh, well, the beauty thing is at least we got, I mean, lover or hater, we do have Daniel Smith. Who does just always say this, tend to say the thing that makes you feel a little bit better sometimes,
When I sort of respond to people on X or whatever when talking about Canada, because people are all concerned about the States, I'm like, you're just ignoring the fact that the rest of the West is falling apart, and Smith and people are like, oh, the conservatives need to get in, and I'm like, who's gonna do anything in Canada? Like, nobody's gonna do anything in Canada except for maybe Daniel Smith. Like, she'd be the only one that might actually be able to make any changes. I don't even think Pierre. I just think Pierre is just like,
Pierre's just a schlub. Did you see what she said about
everything's a controlled op, but he feels like a controlled op.
Oh, he's just even if he's not a controlled op, he's just he is just in like. Even if he doesn't mean to be, or he's not being paid to be, he just might as well be. I mean, that's just the Canadian system. At best, the opposition is a controlled opposition. But did you see what Danielle Smith said about not the provincial police? Because we're in charge of police enforcement, which is why they're not going to fuck with the guns here. There's just. Our law enforcement isn't allowed to do it. So the other thing she said is our law enforcement won't be worried about memes and stuff that people are showing online. There'll be no enforcement of any like online speech rules, and that she would make Alberta a bastion for free speech.
Nice. See, that's the type of stuff we want to hear.
You might have to come back.
No, Saskatchewan will be close. They'll be full.
Yeah, you guys will follow suit.
Yeah. We're kind of we're probably even more conservative because we have two big cities, and they're not even that big, and we're probably the reddest, the rightest province per capita out of any of them.
Yeah, I wouldn't disagree with that.
Because we're a bunch of small town farmers out here, a bunch of small town, it's like the flyover. So, okay, let's start with. I'm going to start with this. This is kind of funny.
I like how you bunch yourself in with those farmers.
I know. I'm feeling right at home here. Okay, this is we're going to start with 10 seconds of pure glory. This is going back to the No Kings, but it's going to lead somewhere here.
Trump's a bitch.
Yeah, why is that?
I don't know. He's just, we don't like him.
What? Can you hear that?
As he said, Trump's a bitch.
Yeah, this is like a guy interviewing in honor of the No Kings here.
Trump's a bitch.
Yeah, why is that?
I don't know. He's just, we don't like him. That's the word around here.
Any particular reason why you don't like him?
No clue at all. I'm just going with everybody else saying. Trump.
It just seems legit. It really does. No, that's the word around here. He's a bitch.
You don't think that could be satire?
It might be, but it just felt real. You know how you sometimes you just
I get it.
It didn't feel like, because there's these people that do these acts and you can sort of sense that they're acting. That guy's just, it seemed real, maybe not. So here's this is from Absurdistan, which, I mean, sometimes I get she sends these out every Saturday. Sometimes they're brilliant. This one's pretty good. The lesson of No Kings, tax Soros, Bezos, Bloomberg, Zuck, and Gates until the debt is gone. Confiscate all in-country CCP assets. So this is kind of leading to what my title was, which I don't know if you picked it up. The tides are turning, or tides are turning. Did you understand what that was about?
No, I don't say. I wouldn't. I mean, I think I just assumed it was along the lines of your accelerationist viewpoint that eventually we'll get to a tipping point that will be in some direction of, I guess.
No, it's about the Tides Foundation.
Oh, who's that?
We'll get into it.
All right.
So she was saying, No Kings was rightly labeled a geriatric flourish of a dying generation. It was also an attack by the privileged on the urban poor and the middle class across America and Canada. It was paid for by the richest people on earth. Things are shaking out super fast now. I'm just going to read through some of this, the good parts, and then, but it is really long and really good, the whole thing, but I'm going to play a couple of my favorite parts here. Things are shaking out super fast now. We know more every single day about the forces arrayed against economic growth for the middle and working classes. Independent media, Substack, podcast, YouTube are doing the only reliable work. Everyone else is selling the failed ideas of the old regime. So she gets into this week, the Atlantic Monthly online's lead piece was by Anne Applebaum, one of a stable of heavy subsidized busybodies who have never had to work in the private economy. People like Applebaum, and this is like busybody is a perfect example. Like we're going to see an example of this managerial, uneconomic class, like unbelievable here. People like Applebaum, and they are legion, feed off the universities, foundations, non-governmental organizations, political outfits, and malignant plutocrats here and abroad. The Atlantic itself is funded via the vanity of Mrs. Steve Jobs, who recently announced that no grants to NGOs should have strings attached, or indeed, I suppose, oversight. So this is the kingmaker of the left, Arabella Advisors. Applebaum is as is her wont, whines about Trump overturning democracy. This must be read as their democracy, which is the new iteration of democracy, where they get paid to sell their stupid ideas, which don't work, have never worked, and are engineered to never work. Any rebellion against their democracy is called fascism. They are paid by plutocrats and billionaires to swan around the world in business class, spouting off why DEI will increase wealth, not destroy it, why the Green New Deal will bring wealth and millions of new green jobs, just another few trillion, another 5 years, another generation ruined and hopeless, why migration is necessary and compassionate, ignore the crime, why rural and flyover whites, that's me now, are contemptible and their complaints without merit.
You're a flyover white.
I'm a flyover white. Yeah, that's we should have titled it that.
That's better than farmer, because you can't be a farmer, but you can be a flyover white.
Yeah. Why climate change is an existential threat and we need fewer people, more abortions, kill the elderly, the sick, the useless, etc. ad infinitum. It is the agenda of the devil, of pure suppurating evil. Every speech, every essay, every conference is a fundraising appeal for more of their garbage ideas to be prosecuted by their army of NGOs, outfits like USAID, and witless billionaire women like Bauman, who for almost 40 years co-chaired the most destructive, ruining rural America. Every member of which hates us, hates the country, works to destroy peace, order, and prosperity. And it's your tax money that pays for it. This is the key here. Every penny of the money they spend to destroy you is yours. So this is, I'm going to just read
2022, but we can show
I'm going to
right
play a
up
bit of this here. This is kind of where we get into the visuals. Can you hear that?
I could. Now I can't.
What happens there?
I don't. I don't
Why
know.
did it go away?
Well, I mean, it's only $129 a month, bro. What do you expect? Does it just work?
you were
I can hear it now.
Now?
No, I lost it. Or fast forward it. Maybe there's just no sound there.
Oh, you know what? It's weird, eh? It's oh boy.
I think the Blue Jays are playing, so we're gonna have some competition for our Canadian audience tonight. Anyway, it's amazing how quick.
Okay, can you not hear that?
I can't hear nothing.
Okay, let me see what's going on here. I didn't catch what you're saying about Blue Jay there. Blue Jays.
Oh, the Blue Jays are in the World Series, so everyone's excited.
Oh yeah.
It's fine that the government is a complete fucking disaster right now because the Blue Jays are winning.
Okay, this is not going good. I think I closed off my whole tab there. Okay, just stall for a second.
Play something? Are we in
What? No, because I'm in the what?
You're in the middle of something, so I can't play something.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough.
Oh my God, that's not working either. Wow. Oh my God. Okay, just give me a sec here. Let's see. Copy. Let me see if I can get this back in here and get going. I'm not going to have my highlights, I don't think. My highlights are gone. But that's okay. We're going to make do here. So this is just a video showing a fractal, you know, that fractal technology that shows the webs. This is what I pictured when I was driving to the flyover province back and forth. And I was picturing how we need some of these like technologies to go, you can go in and find out who's funding who and all that.
Yeah, I remember that. And that's kind of who's kind of done that? That was
looking at the
Can you hear
Tides
that?
Foundation.
I can hear that.
Right now,
Okay.
that looks like a dot in the middle of a black screen.
I'll answer that question.
What it covers is $500 million to $1 billion of donations to leftist organizations every year to influence both American culture and American organizations. Let's go inside what is called the cluster view of the Tides Foundation.
So how many in this first level of organizations does the Tides Foundation send money to, this first level? How many do you think?
That was $1 billion. How many was it? It was $1 billion.
$500 million to $1 billion. Yeah.
$500 million to $1 billion. So I'm gonna say 3/4 of that. Or I'm gonna say, sorry, not 3/4. I'm gonna say 25% of that. So that would be 125 to 250 million.
No. How many groups is the money going to? Like how many separate organizations? So this is like an NGO web, right? So how many organizations?
So it's gonna get bigger.
No, not bigger than that. No, it's like, so they're funding all this, like $500 million out to these organizations, 2,500 of them.
25. Oh,
using
way less than
fractal
that.
technology, we have taken a look at the Tides Foundation, and every dot you see is a dot that is an organization that receives money from Tides. Let's go see who some of them are. The Delta, the Florida Rising Together, the trustees of Columbia University.
So I don't really think we need to get into this. I'm going to fast forward a bit. So it just shows you, it can show you how all these 25 organizations are getting different amounts of money, right? This is just a visual representation of what's on the spreadsheet. So, but just as an aside, my mom warned me about the tides. Like, so this goes back to 20, probably 2008, maybe mid 2000s, maybe early 2010s, when Tide Foundation was getting people elected. Like the Vancouver mayor was elected. So I've got some more information on that. But my mom was on top of this back then. She was like, "Oh yeah, the Tides Foundation." That's like, because all of a sudden the city started becoming like the greenest city on earth, and all these massive initiatives were happening. And he was working for the Tides before he became mayor of Vancouver. So here we go. This is where we're going to get to the next level. Actually, before we do this, how many do you think now these 2,500 organizations send out to other organizations? How deep
How
does
much?
it go? How many? No. How many? What the number of separate NGOs and organizations?
Oh, they send out to another 25,000.
Okay, close. 37,000.
Now the question that we have is, what do these entities do with the money they received from the Tides Foundation? You are now looking at what we call the nebula view. The nebula view is simply 2 layers out from the Tides Foundation. So the Tides Foundation received its money. That was called the cluster view. Now what we're looking at are what happened when the 2,500 companies to whom the Tides Foundation gave money forwarded money to another organization. Well, as you can see, we are now way beyond 2,500 organizations. We are looking here at about 37,000 organizations that are basically leftist organizations tied to the Tides Foundation that are 2 levels out from the cluster view. And if we look at these, and it's very hard to see this, but as you can see, every dot here is a different organization, and there are tens of thousands of these dots. And what you see here are the connection points. Now, these connection points are connected by funding. They are not connected by anything else. But we have the capability to show every connection. So we can show funding by person if there are common employees, if there are common directors. We can show funding by location if they're in the same building, or even if they're nearby, by common phone numbers, etc. So now what you are seeing is this is the blow up of all of these thousands of organizations, and they fund other organizations who blow up into their own little constellations. So if we go down over here, we can see this particular group starts with an entity here, and we can actually drill in and see what that entity is. And then what we can see is every one of the entities that is funded by that. But we can see that they are all connected to the Tides Foundation. So what you are looking at right now is you are looking at the central nervous system for the left. This is
and keep in mind, Soros funds Tides, and Soros he's been open about wanting to destroy America, right? I mean, it literally is what she said. You're paying, your money is going into these companies to destroy your culture and your country. It's unbelievable. And it shows you the scale, right? 40,000 companies, 40,000 organizations that really are not helping. I mean, look at what's happening to the West right now. So it all comes from these spreadsheets that they download. So it is interesting seeing this technology be used to put some good things together. I'm just going to play a little bit more of the spreadsheet part of it here.
To other organizations. And you'll remember there's 2,495. You can see them down here in the lower left-hand corner. So we have 2,500 organizations who received money from the Tides Foundation in 2022. Now, we can do every year. We're showing 2022, but we can show right up until the current year. And we can see the address, et cetera. So we're going to go down and see who those organizations are. One Vote Counts, 1,000 Women, 350 New Hampshire, and we're going to go down this side, and here we can see how much money was given. We can see the name of the organization, but we can also see the states.
Anyways, the point is they go to all the states. It's all over the place. So I was asking Grok because I was thinking back to when my mom was telling me this. I'm like, so what about this Tides? Like, who funds the Tides, right? Like, so Tides is this organization that goes out to there, but who funds them, right? So they're a left-leaning nonprofit based in San Fran, right? Primarily receives its funding through contributions to its donor-advised funds, DAFs, collective action funds, and other philanthropic vehicles. This allows donors to direct grants while often maintaining anonymity, as Tides does not publicly disclose individual contributors unless required. So in 23, Tides reported $350 million in revenue, mostly grants and contributions, $712 million in expenses, largely grants dispersed, and $646 million in assets. So its model acts as a fiscal sponsor and pass-through entity, channeling funds to progressive causes in areas like social justice, environmental protection, and civic engagement, right? So this structure provides this insulation for donors, enabling tax-deductible giving without direct public association with recipients. It's unbelievable, right? Where we've gone in like 30 years. We have this web of organizations that's just anonymously just destroying.
It's been probably just growing with the surveillance, because back in the day they could just take the money and nobody would notice. And they just had to get more and more intricate the better they've got at like following the money.
Yeah, like Curtis says in the chats, Leviathan, and it looks cancerous. Now
it takes autistic dudes on the internet. I mean, really, it's the whole thing is just this weird, crazy circle, the snake eating its own tail.
Yeah. A practice founder, Drummond Pike, described as valuing anonymity for clients. Critics, including outlets like the Washington Examiner, have called it a dark money facilitator due to this opacity. So then there's primary sources like direct contributions, grants, pooled funds, corporate philanthropy, investment income, blah, blah, blah. So here's some of the funders, right? Open society, like wait till you see. I mean, it's just all the bad guys. All the bad guys funding this cancerous web, destroying the West, out to destroy the West, and doing a damn good job of it. So there's Soros's thing, right? Rockefellers, Ford Foundation, Novo Foundation, Fidelity Investments, Vanguard, Charitable Endowment, Schwab, Hewlett Foundation, Kellogg, California Endowment, MacArthur, anonymous individuals and corporations. So I'm not going to get into all these deals. I'm going to skip through some of it here. And I asked about the government, like, is there more than California funding this? Because the government's giving them money to send back to this web to destroy things. Like it's your own government that's destroying you. They received,
or at least entities within it.
Yeah. This is the most significant non-California public funding source because California is in here. Like Newsom's 11 million and personal raises for Tides since 2020 raises conflict of interest. Significant state support from California. So beyond California, there's some federal stuff, key agencies like USAID and the Department of Health and Human Services, sending money to them. And now there's funding from Canada. So here's where this is to do with us in Canada, right? Their affiliate, rebranded as Makeway in 2020 to distance itself from U.S. perceptions, has received Canadian government funding, though it faced scrutiny and cuts due to concerns over U.S. donor influence in domestic activism. No shit. Direct grants in fiscal year 2023, Makeway/Tides reported $22 million in government funding, including $7.1 million in new grants and $15 million reallocated from prior years. This came from federal, provincial, and municipal sources for environmental conservation, social equity, and reconciliation initiatives. So, I mean, and then here's the other issue, right? They get involved with blocking progress on energy and pipelines and all this stuff. So it's not so much because the money's not really that much. When you look at all the 138 pages that you downloaded from the what's that? The
It's like our version, Canada
Public
AIG.
Affairs.
Yeah, Public Affairs.
Public Affairs Canada.
Global Affairs.
Global Affairs Canada. It's billions. It's like 15 billion, I think, or 22 billion. So this doesn't feel like a lot because it's only millions. It's not billions. But you know, if it's I guess if it's spent wisely to destroy your economy, you don't need a lot of it. So here's some stuff about the Great Bear Rainforest Conservation, First Nations land use. So here's tides and just to give you an idea of what happened in Vancouver. This is going back to 2009 to 2018. So this is quite a ways away, right? He says, who served as Vancouver's mayor in that 3 terms, the longest city, has deep ties to Tides Canada, which provided significant indirect support to his campaigns via affiliated donors, firms, and networks. He won his first term with 50% of the vote under Vision Vancouver, campaigning to make Vancouver the greenest city in the world and ending homelessness. Oh, that worked out really well. Priorities echoed in Tides' environmental and social justice focus. Here's a breakdown. So it breaks down Tides stuff here about the broader context and criticism. Investigative reports, that's from 2010 to 2017, portrayed Tides as enabling U.S. foundations to landlock Canadian oil via BC activism. With Robertson's anti-tanker stance, example, opposing the Kinder Morgan expansion, remember when that was all going, seen as aligned. Critics like researcher Vivian Krause called it a vote for U.S. interests, noting Tides $60 million from U.S. donors funneled to BC groups. So, kind of interesting. Interesting, eh? Anything to add to that or to question that at all?
Well, I wish I would have got some of that money.
There was more. There was more energy, sort of.
As a First Nations person,
as a First Nations, as an Indian,
as India.
Well,
it's just a wild card, whatever.
So I'm just going to finish off this here because now I'm trying to figure out what was highlighted since I lost my original one. So they're talking about Trump and Wall Street, blah, 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 tariffs. Trump's team is working getting smaller banks. So one of the things she's saying here is fix this and everything changes. So how decommission the NGO racket across the board. That money, which is the people's tax money, must be used to pay down debt. They don't just poison the U.S. either. Applebaum and her cohort work to stand up and animate international NGOs who range through the world, forcing their will on policymakers and civil society. NGOs have no truck with elections unless they are stealing them, creating color revolutions in countries where they have no business. I'd jail every last one of them. The electoral process is for other people, less superior people. Instead, they bully. They force their stupid ideas on the culture through subsidized or plutocratic media. They strong-arm local officials, papering offices with fake studies and falsified science. They hang around legislatures, doorstepping, bullying, blackmailing, and bribing. They attack state officials. They ruin everyone who disagrees with them, and they are funded to do so by the richest people on earth and us. There's no oversight, none. They operate with impunity. They're a massive negative externality, an external diseconomy. That's the key right there, right? This is a 40,000 organization diseconomy. They cost us with no benefit. They must be terminated. And then this goes into that other one that this is the No Kings thing, right? Tracing it to all this, the No King, Riot Inc. This is being talked about in the government now, finally. Nothing is grassroots. They have been operating without oversight or curb for 30 years, and on every conceivable metric, they have failed. Their democracy is a disaster. I just like her rant here at the end. I'm just going to read some of it. As leaders and thinkers, they have failed spectacularly. Proof? The Democratic West now holds a cumulative debt of $340 trillion. Any growth is chimera. This was reported by The Economist. Admittedly, The Economist is another vanity press, this one funded by Rothschilds, so it's probably way worse. Every Western democracy is groaning. The middle class is poor every year. There are more drugs and homeless on the street, more crime. Opportunity is stunted. Every major city in the U.S., Canada, and Europe is classified as a war zone. Formerly, the murder rate is that high. So then, it goes on and on and on. So I'm just showing you how it goes on talking about talking about Europe and France, and yeah,
Have you been listening to No Agenda?
no,
So you haven't heard of like Adam's theory about it being, they're calling it the North Sea Nexus, which is basically all the old royalty. It's not even like the European government so much, but all those European governments are basically just being controlled by these old monarchs.
yeah. And what does that have to do with Trump and the king
Fighting them, I think.
and the king with the king? Like, where's the UK belong in that?
I don't know where
the
I
British
don't.
Empire belong.
I'd have to maybe. I mean, we got Chris Dubendorf in the chaps. He knows what it's called. Maybe he can elaborate on that further. I'm always only half listening, honestly, these days. Or I'm really listening sometimes, but half the time, or 3/4 of the time, I'm only half listening because I'm talking to someone. Or
Because some people seem to say that as well, but they think that Trump's against the British Empire, and I'm not sure about that. Trump might be more for the British Empire and more against the the North Sea Nexus, unless I'm getting the North Sea Nexus wrong. But so, what did you think, though? I mean, it's pretty interesting. Eh?
it's pretty good. I mean, was the person I was thinking of, is that Grand Theft World?
Yeah.
He's got the crazy map, right? I mean, that'd be fun to play with.
Yeah, we were supposed to get access to that. I'll follow up on it.
Following up, do you have anything else, or can I got a couple things just so that I think could finish out the free side of the show?
Yeah, just before we leave that, Chris says, "Hey guys, yeah, he's been bringing it up in contrast to blaming Israel for everything." Okay, interesting. No, I can just wait and do the second half.
Okay, let me jump over to this, and I want to jump over. This is, it does kind of drive me nuts how the ethical skeptic tends to just like he just keeps adding to this old post. So you got to try and get through the whole thing now and figure out what's new and what's not. So it's kind of frustrating as opposed to just a new post. But I wanted to jump into this here because this is just some other stuff. How we talked about the sea level making the marks and the Khafre pyramid.
Yep.
But I want to come down here. I think I zoomed in and it all got weird for me. But here's a little script that shows some shape by sands. Not that. That's not what I'm looking for. Yeah, here's a thing from the 50s in the chamber. This is kind of where he shows that he thinks. So basically, this is all some stuff to illustrate that he thinks water did get down into the bottom of the pyramid at least, but not into the upper chambers. And he's got this picture of salts here.
Why? Because it was sealed, or?
Just because the bottom chamber goes down. So eventually it was underwater long enough that the ocean would just seep through and eventually got down to the bottom. But the way those other chambers are made, it kind of works like an airlock, I guess. Kind of like when you put a cup in the water upside down.
So do you remember we heard at Karnak how fully buried that was? Remember there was like 2/3 of Karnak was buried? Is that from the same kind of?
Well, I guess his argument would be that would be from washout from the inundation. Washout from the ocean, which is the main reason I wanted to get into this. So he's got some stuff here that sort of shows the elevations, the different things. This is, I think this is a 776-foot inundation in Egypt is what he's calling it. So he's sort of showing the different elevations, everything sort of in green here, I guess. Just about in green is sort of the border between what would be covered and what wouldn't in water. Everything orange and red and yellow would have remained above water in his hypothesis here.
And that pyramid is right on the edge.
And it could have got sort of
right on the edge.
Yeah, it could have got swept off. That's not to say the water wasn't higher for a minute. I mean, just looking at this map, you can start to see some sort of inundation lines. So, right? Can you see my cursor in here?
Yeah.
There's sort of some flood stuff. And we can see them a little bit here. He's got it highlighted here, where on this side you've got some receding shorelines. Flood channel here, flood channels here, flood channels here. I want to show Randall some of this stuff. Here's another graphic here. See if I can zoom in on. See, when I try and zoom in, I lose it. But it's showing a bunch of inundation striations here. I mean, it is interesting because this is really starting to dissect with Randall's stuff now. And I don't know how much Randall's looked over at Egypt and around that side of the world, but this is sort of the same stuff where he's talking about, I think. Anyway, let's jump down to the bottom here where he starts to show the complete rotation. So this is what, because remember they were saying that the Sahara used to be lush and green and all that kind of stuff, and it just like climate change happened from farts or whatever, and then it wasn't anymore.
Well, no, it wasn't a uniform. It wasn't like a long, slow, gradual change.
Yeah. So I think this is here's the fuck. This is getting complex here. Anyway, this is the rotation, basically. I think he's saying that this thing sort of rolled up. You see the arrow coming up on the Euler rotation. So the Earth is rolling up, which is causing the Mediterranean to wash into here and then out over this way, following these blue arrows. Yeah, it looks like he's saying it was the equatorial flow of 70 kilometers an hour. I'm assuming that means like that's how fast it was shifting at the equator. He says 12 to 72 hours for a full shift, I think. Anyway, but this is definitely showing where he feels.
Yeah, that's
like
down below 12 to 7.
So this, see over here, what's this? This is the Persian Gulf, probably, right?
Yeah.
The Persian Gulf washed up over here, and the ocean washed over the lower portion here, which is what caused. I mean, here's some other stuff here that where he's got some arrows that this was a 0 to 12-hour swing north, which caused the Mediterranean to come south, the Persian Gulf to come south, or whatever this little thing is here to come south, and then
it's going the other way.
Then it's going this way at the same time, which caused this to wash out over Africa. So I thought that was a neat little upgrade to his article. I thought there was some more stuff.
So is that supposed to correspond? That's not supposed to correspond with a younger Dryas, is it?
I thought he had a timeline here. I'm looking for it right now. There's supposed to be something far more about a 5,200-year cycle. So he thinks at the top of the Nubian egg. So if you show the sides of the Nubian egg, he thinks this is the Nile, the flooded Fayum Basin. There's some other stuff up here that he thinks is a Red Sea and Straits of Tiran. I mean, it's a pretty complex article. People would have to read it. But if you get to the top here, he thinks that this thing on top. So ask the assistant how long the Mayan calendar was.
Okay.
He suggests state 1 is a 48-year cycle, and state 2, where it shifts, only lasts 400 years before it shifts back, which in total would be a 5,200-year cycle. So it's like a wham bam.
So it says the long count goes back to 3114 BCE. And then Katun is 7,200. 20 years. Okay, so yeah.
I thought the Mayan one ended in 2012, though.
Well, the Baktun ended in 2012.
So it's
making the end of one great cycle about 5126 years. From 5126 from 3114 BCE.
Interesting. So that's pretty close to the 5,200.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, there's some notches. He thinks there's also lines that show the pyramid and the switching of the 104 degrees, which is where he thinks the crust goes to. Some geomagnetic excursion stuff that we're not going to get into here. There's a little graphic of the pyramids covered in water. Anyway, I encourage everyone to go read the article. It is, you could spend some time going through it. You could sort of save it in your browser and keep going back to it for a couple of days. Now I'm going to jump over to this one. which is from UFO Mania on Twitter. And this is about the geophysical event.
What I am aware of is that everybody's telling me we're on borrowed time.
To the extent you can talk about what might be imminent, what is imminent?
Time is not a luxury that we can afford. The time has come. We need to start having the conversation collectively. We should have had it a while ago, but we really need to start having the conversation.
It's not AI. I think the audio is just doubled up. It's not.
Yeah, no, it's not AI. It's just
It's
bad
the
audio.
clip. It's the clip that's doubled up.
Yeah, it's probably already written on the wind one way or another, and it's
Isn't that what's his name? Robert Bigelow?
Yeah.
going to happen, and there's little or nothing we can do about it. Part of that is a function of nobody's going to listen anyway, and so who are we talking to, right? So we'll know, maybe we'll have more information than the average person on the street is going to have. Things are really going to be bad, and how do you prepare yourself for that, and those that you love and care for, or friends? How do you prepare for any of that, right? So that's probably the best that we can do.
I think things are going to be pretty difficult starting in a few years. And from what I've been told by sources,
What does that mean? It's going to be difficult.
it's
What
just,
things are-
I mean, I can't say specifically. I
Sure,
don't know
sure.
that much yet, and I can't really say, but just that a lot of what we take for granted now in life, I don't think is going to be, we're not going to have it. A lot of things we have now that makes our lives as wonderful as they are.
Like electricity
He
and
says
clean water.
that he's as sure as he can be that the people who are calling the shots in the world, you can call them the Illuminati, the controllers, the cabal, whatever name you have for them, they believe that there is going to be what he called a geophysical event, a major geophysical event. There have been trillions of dollars that have been spent on deep underground bases for some reason, which we don't know why it is.
Earth's climate also changes pretty radically over the course of, say, 10,000 years. It can shift from being extremely hot to extremely cold. You can really go down a deep rabbit hole if you read about ice ages.
So interesting. That's
That how much Earth's climate has changed, and even where the magnetically where the poles are has shifted over time.
So, on the climate change issue, I'm fully convinced.
really
After
soon.
all these years, even though we may not know exactly what is causing climate change, we suspect it's the sun. We have a lot of evidence to show that it's probably the sun.
Answer to this is I think there is real concern about geophysical risks.
Yeah.
And one way to deal with that is to make sure we don't bet the ranch on one planet. So I think the first is a solar minimum, where you get big drops in the economy and the agriculture and you can't feed the population.
Right.
So
because there are changes in climate because of the distance of the Earth from the sun.
Right.
And that changes.
Right. So we know throughout history, we go through periods of solar minimum.
So they are worried about climate change, but they don't think it's coming from your suburban.
Right. It's not coming from human behavior. Now, there are environmental problems coming from human behavior.
For sure.
And those
That's
are,
for sure.
Right.
For the record, I have one friend who's very well informed who has convinced me that is real.
The other thing is it appears to me, if you go back through history, every 10,000, 12,000 years, we have, some kind of huge disaster.
An extinction event.
A near extinction event. I think that whether it's a pole shift, magnetic pole shift is one of the, theories of what causes these events. But there is a history of near extinction events.
Now, there have been some significant rumors of events regarding UAP that may occur within, 10 years or so. I don't know if it's something coming or a natural disaster. You hear of something big coming down the pike. Have you heard of these claims? And if so, do you have any idea what it may be?
Yes, I've heard of them. Yes, I'm aware of them, and I'm not able to have that conversation.
So, like Curtis says, FUK all these people.
Yeah, a little collaboration, or what? Not collaboration, compilation of a bunch of people talking about the end of the world recently, or at least the end of this.
They can't really tell you what they know. It just there's a cyclical thing, something coming, happening, but we can't tell you what.
That's right. So anyway. Do you want to start us off on the second half of show stuff? People, of course, if you want to get into this, the extent, the real good roundup stuff, head over to grimericaoutlawed.ca. Sign up today. I mean, just do it. Come on, it helps us stay on the air and helps the show keep going. It's just the right thing to do.
Okay, I should have included this with my NGO thing, but this is Jennifer Granholm was in charge of the Department of Energy, the DOE, right? She shoveled out how many billion? 93 billion. That's 93,000 million in her last 76 days in office, in the form of loans to green businesses that weren't vetted and didn't file a business plan. That's 3 times their annual budget gone in 76 days. More than twice what was spent in the last 15 years. And then this is from Eagle Wings. I'm not letting this go. Why is Congress not investigating this? It's thievery. This is what I'm talking about, man. It's just like, it's like the managerial class. Like the people could see this decades and decades ago. They could see this happening. The managerial class, the unproductive part of society just getting out of control. And here we are. A den of thieves.
Bureaucrats.
And your money. Bureaucrats, right?
It's like communism.
Who's gonna kill this sacred cow?
Yeah.
You were never political, anyhow. Since when did you start trusting in the government? Since when was it okay to ridicule and shame your neighbor? Your opinions have become as fickle as artificial flavors. What matters most to you? What the TV host told you to do? Or a moral compass that points true north, oh true. Who's gonna kill this sacred cow? You were never religious anyhow. Since when did you kiss the ring on the hand of the Pope? Since when do we need pharmaceuticals to cope? Your soul has become, ever-loving soul has become as brittle as communion wafers. What matters most to you? What the Holy Ghost told you to do? Or a moral compass that points true north, oh true. I'm gonna kill this sacred cow. Bureaucrats think I'm non-essential anyhow. Since when has our culture become so lowbrow? It's all touchscreens, and nobody has any know-how. Your idea of fun is taking 1,001 photos of your duck face. Matters most to you what the celebrities post told you was cool, or a moral compass that points true north, oh true. I'm gonna kill this sacred cow. I'm gonna kill your 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 sacred cow.